The Marsh Boys podcast is brought to you by
Papa Earl's, Cajun seasoning at its best. Use it on chicken, beef, fish, vegetables, Bloody Marys, and everything in between. Check out their fish fry for that perfect golden crispiness and that great Cajun flavor.
and Top Down Decoys, the most affordable silhouette decoy on the market. Their horizontal and vertical styles are both a perfect fit for adding numbers to your snow, speck, and Canada spread.
You can check out all of our great sponsors through the link in any of our social media bios. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Hey, take it!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Marsh Boys podcast. I'm your host, Brian. I'm joined today by the silent partner of Marsh Boys, Zach.
Hi.
Griffin. And then we are also joined today by Rich Elliot. That's what it was. We've been hunting. Well, how many times have we hunted together, Rich? A couple times? Three?
Well, the last couple of years we've been together for, probably 10, 15 hunts.
Yeah.
Has it been that many?
Yeah.
It's close to it if it's not. Because I don't think we've duck hunted with you yet.
No duck hunting.
But
Yeah.
we've goose hunted with you a bunch of times. And most of the times when I goose hunt with Zach, you're there with us.
Right.
Real quick before we get with Rich, Zach, we haven't had you on in who knows how long. How'd you do turkey hunting this year?
I worked for most of turkey season, and then the times that I did go out, I took other people out who almost shot flying hens, almost shot the neighbor's chicken, fell asleep.
Did you hear about Ryan's tale? Falling asleep, he sat down on a bird.
Yeah.
He woke up and rolled over, and he had killed a bird when he sat down underneath this tree.
And then he sit in an ant's nest or something.
Oh, yeah. And then he moved to another tree and sat in an ant's nest and woke up with ants crawling all over him.
Yeah, that'll light you up pretty good.
Uh-huh. So I told him, lucky we're not in South Carolina with fire ants.
Oh, no, that's no fun.
I was trying to get to Rich's house to do a turkey hunt, but that never happened.
My grandson did a turkey hunt at my house.
Did he ever get
10
one?
years old, and he missed two. So, but it was exciting for him because not just the turkeys came in, but we had two does come in and walked right in front of us. And that was a spectacular thing for him. It was really his first time spending time out in a ground blind. So it was fun. He didn't like the part where his dad cut his shirt for him because he missed, but he got over that quick.
So, did you turkey hunt at all this year, or?
No. I didn't. If I go turkey hunting, I go over to Zach's.
Fair.
If he comes to my house, I go to his.
That's a nice little trade-off, I guess.
It is a good trade-off.
So, I know, like I said, we've hunted together, we're guessing about between 10 15 times now. I don't think we've ever talked about how you got into hunting. Was it something, you were brought up with? Is it something you picked up a little later in life through buddies, or how did it come about?
I was 22 years old. I grew up in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Never hunting. And a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go pheasant hunting. And I'm like, sure, why not? And I had never even shot a gun before. So I borrowed a 20 gauge H&R topper from another friend of mine. And we went out to Lake Nakamixon, the state game lands out there. And first time out, I shot a pheasant. And it was like somebody put a needle in my arm. And the addiction started.
Yep.
And I went from small game hunting into deer hunting becoming a passion, and the bow hunting for deer became the real passion. And of course, I small game hunted in between, brought my kids up small game hunting. Waterfowl hunting was not really big on our
agenda.
We never had real opportunities. I killed some geese, when we were out in fields, when it was legal season, but was never like we set up decoys to hunt for them. And then when I got here to New Jersey, that was all when I lived in Philadelphia, and when I first moved into Sicklerville. Then I met another fellow that he was big into the goose hunting, and that addiction started. buying decoys and
It's a hell of an addiction, ain't it?
it's
Expensive.
Very expensive.
but it's exciting and it's different than deer hunting because you can sit there and talk and be loud and not have to whisper or,
Yep.
hand signals.
You don't have to sit there like a rock.
Yeah, it's different and when you start hearing birds coming in,
You can cook breakfast.
yeah, you can cook breakfast is right. So yeah, it's different in that way, where you can bring little kids with you. I brought my grandson one time over to Zach's house, 4 years old, while Zach was knocking down a triple one time. So he
I ran out of shells very quick.
yeah, it was good. It was just introducing my grandkids to this this world that we it's special for us. You
Yep.
know, people that have never touched a gun before or never hunted before. They have no concept of when you hear that honking. They hear it and it's just like background noise.
We hear the
it,
geese
and
in the park.
It's music for us.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's different. And,
That's work stopping noise right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
My girlfriend makes fun of me because we could be doing anything. We could be the most important day of our lives, and I'll hear, and I am. Where's it at?
Yeah.
What were we doing at my wedding?
My sister's wedding, too.
Oh yeah, your sister's wedding. Me and
Right on the list.
me and Jimmy. There was geese sitting there. We're like, man.
Watching that little buck that ran into the backyard of the barn.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
at my wedding,
During
yeah.
your wedding.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so that's what catches your attention is all those kind of things. Like me and Zach, our first times together hunting were shooting gophers, prairie
Oh,
dogs
boy.
out in Wyoming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've never
And-
heard about that?
I've seen videos of people doing it, and it looks like it is an outstanding time.
Just wait till Rich gets into it.
Yeah, it's fun. But that's how we met to go to start hunting together. We were on a mission trip to Zach's mom. Her mom and dad are missionaries.
Yep.
They were building a church out there. So our church went out there to help them build. And, of course, the grandpa, he wanted to go out, take us out shooting gophers. We grabbed a couple of different rifles and went out there and we were shooting gophers. Had Zach between my legs here. What were you, about 5, 4?
I was in kindergarten, yeah.
Yeah, so you were 6 maybe.
5 or 6.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then when we got home, I knew he liked doing that stuff, so I would just go over to his farm, and we would drive around in my pickup truck. He'd be in the back, and I'd be in there driving around, and he'd tap on the roof. He'd see a groundhog.
Yep.
I'd hand the rifle out to him, and he'd shoot him. And he was pretty darn good at it. Still good at it.
Yeah, yeah.
There was one, the first time, we're standing right across the street from my house. Groundhog comes out, and I see it. I'm like, groundhog right there. He's like, where? I'm like, it's right there. It's like 40 yards. He's like, you can shoot it whatever you're seeing, but I don't think it's a groundhog. I pulled up, I shot that thing right in the head. He's like, yep, guess you were right.
There was a groundhog there.
Yep.
He had a keen eye for it because every time he shot one, he got $5 from his grandfather. So
Every trigger pull was $5.
Yeah. That's one way to develop aim.
yeah, so that's how Zach and I met, and that was, you're what, how old? 23 now, 22?
I'm 22, so
22.
I am right now the age you were when you started hunting.
So yeah, he's got a big head start on the way I came up, but it's been great fun. Been around to a lot of different provinces hunting.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about next. I've heard all these stories from Zach. If I'm not mistaken, you've been to Africa.
No Africa.
no, not Africa?
North America only.
You got,
North
you
America?
got invited to Africa. You got
I
invited
did,
to
but
Africa, but
Not going to Africa.
No?
No, you got to get too many vaccines.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not doing that.
Fair enough. So have you done anything up in Alaska? I
Alaska,
know for a
yes.
fact Canada. What'd you do in Alaska?
Did a moose hunt up there. 11 days in the Anoka Wilderness area. I saw some moose. None of them were legal. They had to be 50 inches wide in order for you to shoot them.
How hard is that to guess?
Not hard because what they have a rule if there's when the brow tines, which is the lower palm that comes out. If there are 3 points on that, you can be assured that it's 50 inches.
Okay.
And if it's not 50, just the fact that it has 3 points on a brow tine makes it legal.
Oh.
So, but if it's got 3, most of the time it's going to be 50 inches wide. So I saw one that was probably 40 inches wide, called it in. I thought it was going to come get me right away.
With a bow?
No, this was with the
Rifle.
The rifle.
Okay.
So yeah, I wound up shooting a wolf up there while we were moose hunting.
Did you bring the mount to the wild game dinner?
I did.
Yeah, okay. I thought Zach told me about that. And a black bear too, right?
A full mount black bear
Yeah.
that came from New Brunswick, Canada.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I got 3 bears from New Brunswick, Canada. I hunted Saskatchewan. Killed a nice deer up there. It was not nice for up there, but for me it was spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I missed the opportunity at shooting one that was probably in the mid 80s, 180s. I thought it only had a half a rack, and then I let it go. And then I saw it like 200 yards away. I was like, oh my gosh, the other half matched
have
it.
a half a rack.
It was a trashy buck too. It had points
Stickers and
everywhere.
all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But
Half a rack's good enough for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Especially in
sure.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah. I shot one in Alberta, Canada, that was 152 inches. Okay for up there.
Up there, your standard is what, 160, 170 inch deer?
You're trying to shoot anything over 140,
Okay.
right? The one I shot in Saskatchewan was only like 135 inches, but that was the last minute of the last day.
Yep. The one thing I will say, like, I've always had the mentality. Me and Ryan have been talking about doing trips like that. And maybe not to Canada just yet, but kind of going out west for a mule deer hunt, something like that. And Ryan's talked a big game on the podcast about how he wants to wait for this magical buck. I don't think Rich definitely hasn't heard it because he doesn't listen to podcasts.
My deer. He said he probably wouldn't have shot my deer.
Oh,
The
okay.
buck I shot.
That's what I said.
In Canada or in New Jersey?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
His first buck. He wanted his first buck to be a jaw-dropping buck. I said, Ryan, that deer is what? That might hit 107 inches?
I don't even know if it'll go that far.
Exactly. It's an all right. That was my first ever buck.
Yeah.
He's okay. And I said, Ryan, if that deer walked out in front of you, you would have to get new drawers by the time he looked away from you.
Yeah.
I said, because I know I did. I said, it's different. You look at all these people, you're watching YouTube videos, you're watching TV, you're seeing Instagram pictures, you're seeing your buddy shoot deer, and you think it's just this thing that a deer's going to walk out, you're going to shoot him, and that's going to be it. You're going to be happy. Well, after we had that conversation, I took him out to my spot, and I had him shoot his first ever deer. I got him on his first deer. He shot a doe. He called me, and he was like, I think I got it.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to see a 4-pointer and lose your mind.
Years ago, when I first went up to Pennsylvania, a friend of mine has a lodge up there, and I got invited to go, and I wound up going up there for way more than 20 years hunting up there. But the first year we were up there, we only had like a day or two to go scouting, and we were talking about, what deer are you going to shoot? It was legal to shoot a spike buck at that time. It had to be 3 inches tall or bigger.
Okay.
And we heard guys all night long talking about, I'm not shooting anything unless it's a 6-pointer or an 8-pointer. And I was talking to a couple of my friends that we were all in this one bunk room, and I said, if a spike comes out, I'm shooting that spike. I said, and I think most of these guys that are talking are going to do the same thing. I said, because there just weren't that many bucks around back in the early 80s.
Okay.
Not in Pennsylvania. There were good bucks, but, not in popular or over hunted areas like we were hunting. When I got up in the morning, I went down into the kitchen. We were getting breakfast, and then one of the old salts that was to my conversation, he says, Rich, what you said last night about shooting a spike buck is absolutely true. He said every guy in this place will shoot a spike buck.
Yep.
So, for Ryan to set his sights high, that's great. But the odds of that happening are non-existent.
That's what he said. That's
Yeah.
what Brian said.
But he's got to get out there. He's got to put the time in.
And
If
that was another thing.
don't
He
put
did,
the time
he
in,
did
you're
for
not
turkey
getting it.
season.
He did. I will say he did put a lot of time into turkey season this year. I was very surprised, and I
was
told
too.
him that too. He went on 2 hunts by himself, and then normally, like last year, I'd go on my turkey hunt the first year, and if he wanted to, he could, but he didn't. He wanted to wait for me, and I took him along last year on my first hunt. And then after that, we would go together. So I would try to find spots with 2 birds. Well, this year I called him on every Thursday because he had Saturday permits. I called him like, hey, I got this great spot. I just saw 2 birds roosting here. He'd be like, no, we got a spot. I'll be at your house to pick you up. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Nah, turkey season was a bust. We've talked about it before. It's just them birds did not want to move. I think it got too hot too quick. They found their ladies and we're not coming off of them. But no, I brought that up, the whole set your sights big thing, because the one thing, like I really am a big fan of Meat Eater with Stephen Ranella, and one of the first things I ever heard him say watching his YouTube videos was always shoot what you would be happy with on the last day,
On the first day.
or something. Don't pass what you would be happy to shoot on the last day.
Yeah, don't pass a deer on Monday that you would shoot on Friday.
That was
you'd
it.
be happy to shoot on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we were like, when I said I wanted to go mule deer hunting out west, if there was a 4x or a 2x2 that came out 3x3, I really honestly don't know if I would shoot a spike, and I think in some blocks because I want to go to Wyoming and do it. But anything a 2x2 and over, I would have zero issue shooting it and putting it on the wall. That without a doubt, because I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to do that or do it again.
Well, what stops you from going for whitetails up in Canada where they just grow absolute monsters?
I'm not a big whitetail guy.
No?
I just it's something I put a lot of time into for a long time. I started hunting when I was 10. Me and Dad went out for buck week and doe days. He'd take me out maybe once every couple years. He kind of fizzled out of hunting by the time I turned 5 or 6. Obviously he's got 2 kids, a job. He didn't really have the time. He got back into it when I wanted to get my hunting license. I turned 10, got my hunting license. We would go out, and then when I turned about 12, we kind of stopped. I'd beg him and drag him along to go squirrel hunting, and we weren't hunting. We would go to the state piece. We'd walk 2 feet into the woods and sit on buckets for an hour. He'd be like, "Well, nothing's here." Like, all right, Dad, come on. And then when I got my driver's license, I'd say from the time I was 16, really 15, to when I was like 21. I mean, doe days, buck week. I didn't get my bow license till I was 22.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, I just recently got my bow license, and I didn't even see anything. I would go out and scout like in October and try to find deer before the rut or during the rut, and I would find them. And by the time doe days or buck week would roll around, I couldn't find a single deer.
Scouting at the wrong time.
Well, yeah, and I wasn't really aware of that. I didn't really have anybody at the time to kind of bring me through that. Like, hey, kind of try to do this. I didn't really have that. Dad was a big driver, and the properties he hunted, he didn't have to do a lot of work in because
Jersey hunting and Pennsylvania hunting are totally different.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Jersey guys, they thrive on the deer drives.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it sounds like
World War III?
It's crazy when you start hearing 50 shots, but you can. Pennsylvania, back in the 80s, you could hear when a deer was running and making his way across a mountain because there'd be shot, and that deer survived. But Pennsylvania's different now. At least up where I'm going, there's probably 10% of the hunters that there used to be.
Well, I've heard that even with the bear hunting culture, it is a very fast dying breed in PA. Maybe not western PA, but eastern and northeastern PA. I've heard a lot about that. Just the clubs are disappearing every year.
Yep. I went to a...
Start rifle hunting.
Well, I was up there for rifle season, not this past year, the year before, and I went to a wildlife management area that I had hunted in 20 years ago. And when I went there, I took both of my sons were with me 20 years ago, and we're out there. We got to the parking lot at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and figured we'd be early. Well, there were already 40 cars in the parking lot, and when we came back out, there were probably 60, 70 cars in the parking lot.
It's like getting to your duck spot at 4:30. You think you're early.
Yeah, last year
Not anymore.
I went there and to the same exact spot, and 6 cars. So the number of hunters that are out there in the woods today is much less than what it used to be, at least in that area of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm not sure here about the clubs in South Jersey. I know one guy, they only have 3 members left in their club over in the Wharton State Forest.
Yeah, that part. I mean, it all depends who you ask, really. You ask them guys that only go up there during buck week and stuff that live down here where we're at, where I'm at, and they'll tell you like, oh no, like you'll see, there's plenty of guys that still drive and have clubs and stuff like that. And then you ask the guys that live up there, like, no, you see 2 or 3 lose their club every year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's. I think hunting in general is a dying breed. I don't think as many kids are growing up to learn how to hunt.
We're going to try and keep it going. My sons and I have just made a deal to purchase a piece of ground up in Hillsgrove, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So we're going to bring our grandkids up. I'm going to bring my grandkids up in that environment so that we can try and help to keep this this love of the outdoors alive, you know.
Yep.
And you really don't, like my grandson was totally taken back because of those deer that walked in front of him so close to him, and they weren't scared. You know, we were sitting in a ground blind, and to hear them chewing on corn, it's just, when you could hear that and not just see it on television, and it's right in front of you. My youngest grandson, I had him out in the ground blind just looking, scouting around, and a raccoon came down right next to us, so that's exciting for those kids.
Oh, yeah.
And he's now excited. He heard this sound. He thought it was an owl, but it was really a mourning dove.
Oh, okay.
And now every time he comes over and he hears these mourning doves, Pops, I just heard those mourning doves. So he's in tune to the outdoors, and that's not by accident. It's because we introduce him to it.
Yep. What I was going to say is with the whole to backtrack and then move forward with the deer hunting thing. I really burnt myself out deer hunting, and then I found waterfowl, and
much better. I deer hunt 3 times a year.
I put enough work into waterfowl. We were actually, I think it was me and Zach that were talking about this. Or Zach or somebody asked me like, oh, well, when are you going to deer hunt? I said, if I deer hunt, I didn't deer hunt at all last year. I said, if I do deer hunt, I deer hunt the second week of October, permit season. I said, it gives me, because by the end of September, Goose, you're burnt out. You're hunting hard every weekend in hot, warm weather.
No.
So that first weekend of October, I give myself a break. And then second week of October, before the first splits come with North Zone, Coastal Zone, South Zone duck season,
You're talking October or November?
October.
Okay.
I may deer hunt. I got a spot where I know I can kill a doe. I killed a couple doe. I've killed.
Well, that's the regular archery season. That's not permanent archery season. October. November is permit.
No. Down here, I think my zone permit bow comes in like October 10th.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think October 10th comes in permit bow, or October 14th, depending on the year. It's somewhere right around that second weekend. But no, with what you were saying with your boys, I took Ryan on his first ever turkey hunt. He wanted to come and film. So we had jumped some birds getting into the spot. We got in a little late. We had switched spots. And I wanted to go to this spot first, but not to blame Ryan, but he showed up to the house a little later. So he went to one spot that I know I could sneak in. Got nothing for about an hour, so he drove to another spot. I got to his farm, and I'm walking around the field edge, and there's 2 big toms. So now we're belly crawling to the hedgerow. Well, they spotted us. Very easy to see us over a cut cornfield. Or, not cut, it was a cut wheat field.
How far were they?
80 yards.
Oh, I just been shooting.
So I saw where they went.
I would have.
They went down this line that we call the cable. It's a line where the Boy Scouts follow. And I knew there was a blind right off of it. Well, before we got to the blind, there was a blowover tree. So I said, oh, that's perfect. I said, we'll go sit up against that tree. There's a nice blind here on the left side of us. We'll be covered. Well, here come this doe and this fawn. I mean, every bit of 10 yards. That's it. And Ryan's just starry-eyed.
Mesmerized by it.
They
right?
get by him. They get by us. And Ryan turns to me and goes, they didn't even see us.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. I said, we're sitting here in full camo with face mask up against a tree not moving. He goes, they didn't even see us. I said, well, all right. Well, how does that make you feel? He goes, I want to kill one now. I said, okay. But yeah, that's when I kind of knew he was hooked. But,
I tried to get Rich on a deer drive this year.
Yeah.
I tried. It was the
Yeah,
last
but
Saturday.
Yeah, he called me at 5:30 in the morning saying, "Hey, you want to do?" After telling me the night before, like we got plenty of guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I
they
can only
called
go
me
off
in the
of what
morning
I've
like
been
a bunch
told.
of guys bailed out.
Yeah, and I'm calling him. I'm like, yeah, we're on our way to a spot right now. You can meet us. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, okay. Well,
Turned out to be a good decision.
We'll be hunting all day. No, I'm good.
They came out with a 0 that day.
No. I shot one deer. I shot the only deer that day, and I shot it in the water.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the one that almost made you guys break up.
Huh?
The one you shot, the buck, your buck, last year.
Oh, yeah, that was...
I thought we were talking about that for a minute.
Yeah, she was not happy about that.
Oh, we had him on the podcast the week.
That
the
was
week after.
No, the day of. It was that night. No, it was that night.
And she was hot. Oh, she was mad. And then I stood that fire.
We're
up.
talking about Jules here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jules doesn't like to be recognized on the podcast.
Well, we were going to announce that she's here right now, and she's recalling that same day right now. So Zach, Sophie
Yeah,
again tonight.
I'm getting in trouble again.
Now she has to look at that deer every day of her life.
Yeah, she does. And you know what other deer made her really mad?
With Santa hat on.
You know what other deer made her really mad? The last day of the season, not this past year, the year before, we pushed a little piece of corn. My dad did. And there's 3 people all together. My dad's pushing. Jules is standing. You know where my pond is, right?
Yeah,
I know Rich does.
the one on the right side of the property. I guess if you're looking at the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's standing right by the pond. I'm standing in the middle of the field, right at the end of a hedgerow. My dad pushes 2 deer out of there. I think they were both bucks. One was huge. The other one didn't have horns, but I think it had lost them already. It's coming right to her. I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to get ripped on because this deer's huge. Comes, she shoots 3 times, right?
I think like twice.
Twice. I swear she hit it. Thing comes by me
Stand by that.
at every bit of 80 some yards. Of course I'm unloading into it. Runs down to the other pond. Then I pushed it out of there to my dad at 30 yards, but he was too hyped up on there's a big deer in there and we're gonna kill it. I'm not listening to what you say.
Oh, is this the one where you said he stood here and the deer came out
Yep.
where you told him
Yep.
to stand?
Yep.
Okay.
That was the I know more. I'm going where I want to go. And when that big deer came out and stood broadside at 25 yards.
Was this when I first hired you?
No.
No?
This was after I shot my buck.
Oh, yeah, because you invited me on the hunt.
I did.
And you called me and goes, you know, you'd have shot a really big deer if you'd have come out today.
Yep. We would have had him. But he's standing there. The deer's 25 yards away. Pulls his gun up. And there's the Mexicans that were working in the vineyard. Their van is right behind him. And they are right on the other side of the van, so he's like, I can't shoot that. And by the time he could shoot it, it was 40 yards away, angling away through a vineyard. So he was picking between the poles and vines. And she was not happy about it.
Well, your dad's figuring out, after enough years of you being successful at what you do, that he might want to listen to you every now and then.
My dad just admitted to me that like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm never. He will never admit it.
It wasn't directly.
He's seeing it.
He could say, yeah, but he will never.
That's
admit
like when
it.
he busted on you for shooting semis, and he has his pump.
Yep. Man, what's his other thing? You bust on him all the time.
Gosh. He's a 12 gauge buckshot New Jersey deer hunter that would never even consider throwing a slug.
I want to throw a slug, but I don't want to spend $350 on the barrel to buy it for my 870. That's where my issue comes.
Yeah, throw it right through your 870. You just have to have a rifled slug.
Smoothbore slugs.
No, you need rifled slugs.
Well, you can get rifled slug for a smooth bore, but if you have a rifled barrel, then you need smooth. You can shoot a sabot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So you can shoot rifled slugs
Through a smooth bore,
but not sabots.
But you can shoot a sabot, but they
can.
just don't get the twist.
Oh, okay.
Right?
No, they still get the twist. They don't get the accuracy.
Well, that's what gives them the accuracy,
It's
the
a
twist.
twist. Yeah.
But they're still getting it. They're just not getting it, I guess, as much.
And rifled slugs were popular back in the 80s and maybe even the early 90s. They were popular. But once they came out
I
with
got
these,
40 of them out in the house.
once they came out with the Savage slugs, and you might as well be shooting a rifle.
Yeah.
Oh, my slug gun, I'll take that thing to 200 yards any day of the
And the
week.
new muzzle loaders, I mean,
My muzzleloader with iron
they're
sights.
200-yard rifles.
Yeah, easily.
You know.
If I put a scope on mine, I could easily put mine to 200.
Yep.
Not to switch gears or anything, but I've been wanting to talk to most guests about this, especially going forward. So I'm not sure if you're aware. I know we've talked about it. Very recently, Delaware's governor just signed off on Sunday hunting for waterfowl. Well, Sunday hunting for everything.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that as a waterfowler? Now, I did get confirmation they are taking the week off of the season from January. I have mixed emotions about that. A lot of people don't like the view I take on that. I think it's a good thing. Kind of a good thing, especially if we're really looking at conservation efforts. But what are your thoughts on Sunday hunting, how they are going to affect stuff? And then do you think we will see a time where Jersey implements that? Because right now, we're the only state going down from New York. I don't know if Maine does or anything like that, but New York, skip Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. I think Maryland, there's some Sundays you can hunt.
Well, you can bow hunt in New Jersey on
Yeah,
Sundays
well, I mean,
now. That's a
waterfowl
start.
hunt. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the thing about implementing the Sunday hunts is brought about because most hunters only have off on the weekend.
Work for a living.
Right? We are blue collar, most of us.
Takes a good job before
and
the
we
decoys.
work and don't and if you race to get home, you might get an hour or two in the woods to deer hunt. Or we've done this numerous times last year where I raced to get home
Get to a
in time
field.
to set up a decoy spread in a field and then hope that the birds didn't beat you there.
Turns out it's the wrong field that he set up.
We did that numerous
yeah,
times.
I heard about that.
Anyway, so when you have just 2 days off, and one of those days you cannot hunt, it makes it hard to maintain your numbers of hunters. Guys will just lose interest. I can only hunt one day. And like turkey hunting, they give you can have Saturdays, you can have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just stupid as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. Just make it turkey season. Make it turkey season for shotguns. Make it turkey season for bows, crossbows, muzzleloader in the fall.
Yeah.
But they just make things more difficult to maintain the numbers of people that make our sport financially worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Like Pennsylvania used to have 1.5 million hunters on opening day for deer season. They're
No
under
school.
700,000 hunters across the whole state, and they've done everything they can to make it better. They made, they tried to make bigger deer by putting point restrictions
Yeah.
on making it. Now you can hunt opening week. You get Friday after Thanksgiving is the only day you get to go scouting if you have Thanksgiving at home
Yeah.
and then you go up to the mountains to hunt. Friday's your only day you get to scout. Then the season opens on Saturday. You can hunt Sunday up there now during rifle season.
There's a couple Sundays, right? Or is it
Yeah.
all Sundays
But
now?
most Pennsylvania hunters they used to be Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and they'd go home, and they'd probably never pick up a rifle again
I
the
was
rest
saying
of
you
the
get one
season.
trip
right?
out of the year.
So you're selling all these licenses for a 3-day hunt from a lot of guys, and some guys are way more dedicated, and they're out there and they do the scouting and they have their deer tied to a tree.
Yeah.
You know what time he's coming
Yep.
past and so forth, and they shoot their buck early. But for a lot of guys, they don't have time to put in. It's just part of their recreational endeavors.
Absolutely.
So I think if you allow Sunday hunting for waterfowl, you're not going to see like an overabundance of kills.
No. No.
Because some guys are just going to say, hey, I get an extra day. They might put 2 days in for waterfowl season. The diehard guys that are out there as many days as you can get out there, there's only so many days that you're going to go hunting and you get tired of it.
Yeah. And there's also only so many days you're going to go out and shoot a full limit every day.
Right.
Even if you are the most diehard of diehard hunters.
Yeah. So, and if you go to one spot all the time, you're going to shoot your birds
Yeah.
out.
Uh-huh.
It's just, I don't see any issue with that. They used to tell you that it was to give the animals a day of rest. But I don't think they need a day of rest. I think we need to put more hunters out
Well,
there.
I mean, if we're going to go the deer hunting route, especially, like, look at New Jersey. Like, everybody complains about the deer. Even the state complains about the amount of deer. But then they make all these, I mean, it's trying to find your way through a maze.
Yeah.
Hunting
Too
in
many
New Jersey with
restrictions.
deer.
And the zone lines are,
Well, they were. So it seems like almost every podcast for a while now, I've been telling people, especially if you're from New Jersey listening to the podcast, I don't recommend a lot of things just because I don't feel like I'm in the space to recommend a lot of things to people. I always recommend you do the state surveys. That tells the state what you want, and we have seen good things come of it. The doe restriction. So now we don't shoot does anymore, or we don't buy a doe tag, we buy an antlerless tag. That was from surveys. It's hard to judge sometimes these button bucks. Now I think we have a 3-inch regulation. Anything under 3 inches is considered a antlerless deer. That falls under your permit. And I got lucky with that. Last year, shot what I thought was a doe. Turned out to be an 1.5 inch spike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mistake, first of all, but it's anybody that tells you, oh, I can tell the difference between a button buck and a doe. Yeah, right. Unless he's facing away from you, obviously. But it's just, I think the Sunday hunting, with Jersey's regulations, there's too many hoops you got to jump through. But with the surveys, this year especially, they were talking about getting away from, I think there's 68 zones in New Jersey, if I'm correct, 68 to
I'm
7.
not sure how many there are.
There's a lot.
It's at least 50.
Oh no, it's over, because remember the one by work is like 63 or something.
Oh yeah,
And-
and the other one's 65.
So I think there's 68 zones, and with like 8 different regulation sets.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they were talking about going to like 4 zones with 4 regulation sets.
It would make it a lot easier. I mean, if you're out knocking on doors trying to find pieces of ground, or even if you're hunting public land, you have to buy a permit for
Yep.
the permit bow season or the permit deer, gun season. I hunt in 3 different zones, right?
Yep.
So do I have to buy a permit for each of those zones? Yeah,
Yep.
it makes it.
Now I don't know what zones encompass it, but I know they did come out once again from the surveys. They surveyed it and it showed really good. they did the multi-zone permits. But I think that's only for.
I got that last year.
But isn't that only for specific zones you can combine?
Yeah, you can pick your main one is what you buy right away, and then underneath of it you can add a zone, and then add a zone.
Yeah, but it's only like what, $2 less?
It's I think it's $3.
Yeah, it's
per thing, and you can only add 2 besides the one you buy.
Yeah.
So you're only getting.
I just always think it's a money grab.
Absolutely,
for the state, to make that many zones, and then you have to get a permit for, your bow, and you got to get a permit for the gun, and you got to get a permit for the muzzleloader.
Yep. You got to buy a buck tag, a doe tag for every zone you hunt.
And so it's just a money grab. $28.50, $28.50, $28.50 every time you want to do something.
And
like that.
if I'm not wrong, I think prices are going up this year on hunting license, which is a complete scam.
Well, it's because they chase so many people out of it. They got to tax the people that are left more, because they've chased out so many people from participating in the sport.
Yep.
If you would just stop taxing us to death, you might keep people in. If you let people hunt on Sundays, if you change the zones, those kind of things, you're going to keep more people in.
Yeah.
The state is worried about outlaws, people that are going to break the law. Well, stop making so many stupid laws and people won't break them.
Yep.
They make stupid laws for them to be able to find people, and they think everybody's an outlaw. As far as I'm concerned, every confrontation that I've had with a fish cop has been, I'm guilty, I have to prove myself innocent.
Really?
Every one of them.
See, I've had honestly, except for one time, I've honestly had like the exact opposite feeling with game wardens. We've gotten stopped. I think we got stopped, like even when we got stopped at Palatine.
That dude was nice.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, we knew we were.
We didn't
We
know.
thought we were right, but in the back of our minds, we knew we could be wrong.
The question was there.
The question was there. And the game warden, like, we told him everything. Like, we were very upfront with everything about all of it.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
And no tickets were written. He was very understanding. He even looked into it himself and said, this is something that I can't figure out, so I'm not going to write tickets for this.
I pulled my licenses out of my pouch.
He lost his physical license. So the night before you printed everything
I had
on
Jules
white paper.
print out me papers for everything.
Like 15-mile-an-hour winds.
I pulled them out of my pouch, out of my license holder, and a gust of wind comes. I'm standing in probably
2 foot of water.
2 foot of water. Yeah. They go everywhere. I'm picking them up from underneath, holding them, and the guy's going, he's like, okay, your turn. I'm like, holding my hands up with my licenses like soaked. And he's like, what's your name? I told him my name. He's like, okay. He's like, I'll just look it up. You bought your licenses? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they're right here.
Yeah.
It's one of these 13 pieces of paper that got soaked.
Just spent $2 to reprint the licenses, though. Can we just
Let's talk about this, because I brought this up, and I don't mean to call game wardens out by their name, but I talked to Tracy Stites about this twice now. If I press on when I buy my license online, so like turkey permits, a lot of times I'll just forget, and then I'll buy them online before I go hunting and print them out. I will click ship to my house for the extra $1.50, $2, whatever it is.
They don't come until
I do
after
not get
season.
it. No, I don't get them at all.
I get them. I get them like a month after the
So
season.
I just stopped. I got a place down right 5 minutes from it that sells license. I get them on the way home from work because he yelled at me before. Shout out to Jason at Sam's, at Texas, or Sam's Super Center. He yelled at me before I walked in. I said, Jason, I need a duplicate for my turkey permits. Well, why the hell didn't you just buy them here?
Mm-hmm.
You live 2 minutes away. I said, yeah, I know, but I forgot last minute. He goes, don't forget.
At the gas station?
Yeah. There are awesome people over there. But PA did something really good with that. Now everything's online. Mm-hmm. I think it's an app or something. You can still do the physical license, but I believe you can do an app or something, just like your car insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's progressions being made, but I think being in this colored state, it doesn't. I'm pointing at a blue cup, by the way. It doesn't help. Look at the bear hunts. I mean, literally, Murphy got backed into a corner and had to retract everything he said about the bear population.
I was looking at where we can go bear hunting up there next year.
Oh, there's spots.
I know. I want to do it.
I don't know. Like, this the thing with bear hunting is just like Rich said with deer hunting. I would get 1 day for it. Like,
I would too, but
well, I see the wheels turning over here.
If you're not a bear hunter and you don't know where the bears are at,
you're not finding them.
To go buy a bear permit in New Jersey and think you're going to walk in the woods up there, there's going to be a bear behind every other tree. If you're going to go bear hunting, go with a bear guide. Go up to Canada or go to Montana. They have there's a place in Montana. They horseback ride for bears bow hunting. I mean, it's awesome. But Canada, Ontario, unlimited number of bears up there. I mean, they're loaded. I hunted it in New Brunswick 3 years. Saw bear every year. I shot a bear every year that I was up there. My brother shot a beautiful bear. My buddy Mike Fonis, he shot 2 bears up there. So, yeah, there's go where there's a guide. Go where they know, and they bait.
Yeah,
Here in New Jersey, I don't think you can bait for bears. I know you can't bait for bears.
I believe
you can bait. You have to be 300 feet away.
No, it's non. Oh, what is it? Like, you can't use meat. I think it is.
Well, up there they use anything they want. They use
the bait barrels and stuff.
Fryer grease. They use
donuts,
glazed donuts. My brother's got a video of his bear that he shot. It had a moon pie in its mouth, So, yeah, there's all kinds of bait that you can use up there, and your odds. Like if you went up there and you did a 4-day, 5-day hunt up there. If you come back with no bear, it's because you decided you didn't want to shoot the bears that were in front of you. You are going to see bears. And this is just I went all with bow. I did kill a bear in Quebec with a rifle. We were on a caribou hunt up there, and we had already killed.
That's
our
something
caribou.
I would love to do, as a caribou hunt.
Did the caribou hunt up there, and that was something that the province of Quebec did that was totally wrong. They thought that there were too many caribou in the herd that we were hunting the Leaf River elk or caribou herd.
I was gonna say, aren't the regulations mainly by herd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were hunting the Leaf River, and they thought there were too many of them, and they hired people to go up there and just slaughter thousands of caribou. They'd hunt out of a helicopter.
Oh,
and
man.
hunt out of a plane and just fly around and shoot. And they would send this helicopter out with a big cargo net underneath of it, and they'd scoop them all up, and they'd process them in the middle of this lake. Well, after years of doing this, that herd became very, very thin, and they actually had to stop hunting it for a few years. When I went up there, we were allowed to kill 2 caribou.
Okay.
But for years it was shut down, and now you can go up there and you can just kill 1 caribou. But they hurt that herd so terribly because the government thought they knew better, as they always do. They think they know best about everything. We're scientists. We saw with Dr. Fauci what scientists are good for.
We went to college. We know these things.
Yeah,
and I know what you're getting.
Anyway, I'm all for letting people hunt on Sundays. Lesser regulations, make it easier for guys that can get out only on the weekends to get out there. How much more often do you think Ryan would have got out for turkeys if he didn't have just Saturday?
Or 5 more times.
Yeah.
Or if he didn't. Well, so that is the thing with us. We travel back and forth from PA. So, like Zach, we were talking about it for next year. Me, him, and Tyler, like setting up on the way home from work. Stuff like that. And you guys did it last year. I'm not coming across the bridge till 4 o'clock any day.
Mm-hmm.
And in the wintertime, that means I get 45 minutes to hunt. And if I'm not hunting a roost, I'm not killing anything. and I really, unless it's like the last day of the season, I really do my best to stay out of roost. I'll hunt a field off of a roost. Do that. I got no issue with that. And birds go back there every year or every day. But
I'll hunt places where other people don't want me to be either.
Oh,
I got no problem with doing that. As long as it's legal.
I do have good
I'm in.
news, though. So I went by the lake today. I can talk about it. Everybody knows what lake I'm talking about. I'm not spot burning because I'm on private property. That is a big thing. We've actually gotten really good at the podcast. Like the first 10 episodes, Ryan would just blurt the name of a place out. Like, Ryan, now I have to go back and edit.
You remember that monster banded goose we saw that had that little bit of white in its neck?
Yeah, he'd get specific
such and
about
such a lake. Like,
Yeah, you can't
really?
give up your
No,
spots.
but where I hunt, a lot of people know where my private goose field is. The hatch was amazing this year. There was probably 12 to 14 pairs of geese that hatched successful eggs. I think just today I passed it. There's probably 85 geese on the lake. And
Nice.
yeah, that's just the geese that are there now. Now they're gonna fucking disappear. The week before the season, and they won't come back till like September 15th. But they did it. They've done it 3 years in a row.
our geese at our lake that we hunted off of last year are not there anymore. They're gone.
Gone.
Yeah, whatever was left. There's like this. There's like the same 6 that were there after we ended up shooting the other 48, but
They got tired of being shot at. That's why they left.
no, I think all the ones that left died. I really do.
We're getting about close to that time, Rich. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else?
No,
you
it's
had?
been fun. I mean, we're just sitting here shooting the breeze. My first time ever doing a podcast. I've only listened to a couple of them, but it's fun.
Yeah, we will more than happily have you back on. I'm sure
Great.
the listeners enjoyed it. Zach, anything you want to get into? See,
62 more days until
yeah,
goose
something like
season.
that. I won't start counting down to hit the 50s.
I've been counting down since we got to 100 something.
I did just post our first post about like.
Yeah, I know, and I got really, really annoyed. I really wanted to go shoot something.
We still haven't gone bow fishing this year. I think I'm hoping I get the flex. And actually, you made a really good point. I think I'm going to paint the bottom of the boat, just like
Right
you
on.
said. That comes in tomorrow. I get that painted tomorrow night. Wednesday night, probably going to go bow fishing. So,
I might be busy Wednesday night.
and then Saturday, really fun. We got some YouTube content we're going to be shooting, which is cool with some guys.
What are you doing
work
for
with.
Independence Day?
I
It's a
think.
day off.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go to work Friday.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Don't thank me.
That's
an
what they're all
I'm sure
telling.
It is. That's an excuse.
The
We
office
don't have
isn't. The
orders for
office
nothing.
isn't coming in.
We just shut down Springhouse for Friday. Actually, Springhouse is shut down because we don't have enough guys to run McCoy's. So them guys are going to McCoy's. I'm going to float between 2 plants. Hopefully, do nothing that day. We're probably going to make 60 ton between the 2 plants.
You can come fix a bearing.
Nah, I'm good.
It's nice to be somewhat retired. I'm off on Fridays now.
There you go.
These guys have to work on Friday, and I'm not going to feel bad about it at all. I've been there.
The quarry guys are lucky. They're working 310s this week and then taking a personal day on Friday. I said, heck, give me that option. I'll take a personal day.
I think I'm gonna be sick on Friday.
But anyway, thank you, Rich. It was a great time having you on.
It was fun being here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Zach, as always,
I talked more.
If I was going to say, if Ryan's not here and we have a guest on, or actually, if anybody from Mars Boys isn't here and we have a guest on, you're more talkative. You come out of your shell a little bit. So we'll have to have Rich on a bunch more.
Or talk about stuff I know.
We'll talk about stuff,
Fishing, I'm out.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the episode. Real quick before I end the episode, I know it's in the intro to the bio. I know I said it last week. if you like Cajun seasoning, if you're a health nerd that doesn't like gluten or MSG, check out Papa Earl's Cajun seasoning. Their fish fry, their hot and spicy seasoning, their regular Cajun seasoning. It's all top shelf. I've been using it long before they decided to get involved with the podcast, and I'm super grateful that they are. Top Down Decoys, the best and cheapest silhouette on the market. Check out Lance over at Bucks County Boys. He's been doing some really cool things. Check out Henlope and Waterfowl and Riley's Dying Breed series. He has got something really cool in the works for that. Hopefully, Riley, you got to come up soon so we can finish that. And if you want to check out any of our sponsors, just like the intro said, check the link out in our socials. Give us a follow, give us a like. We'd appreciate it. Have a good one.